Let me say a few words about my person. My name is Torsten Rehfisch. I'm 31, from Aachen. I work for Generali since summer 2005, where I started my 3 years implant training. After that, I made a lot of software development for our ZOS applications, design and implementation of config management and deployment solutions for COBOL programs. And in 2014, they asked me if I wanted to do something new. Switched to the WebSphere platform and started as a product owner with a new team. Introducing XebiaLabs XL Deploy and leading the switch to full descriptive deployments for Generali. So here's our agenda for the next half an hour. First of all, a short introduction of Generali, so you get an impression of our environment. Then I want to talk about our initial situation and targets. And then I want to talk mostly about how we change to descriptive deployments and descriptive deployment configuration. And I also want to give you a short foresight on what we are working on and what we are heading for. Generali is Europe's largest life insurance. We have 70 billion total gross written premiums. We are operating in over 60 countries, have more than 78,000 employees and 72 million clients worldwide. Generali Germany is a very important part of the Generali group. We have 24% of the premiums, about 14,000 employees and more than 7.5 million clients. And we have, in Germany, we have a business model established in 2008 with, I think, famous and well-known insurance partners with different sales channels that we provide with IT solutions at Generali Deutschland Informatik Services. So we are one of the service companies named at the bottom. And at the moment, we have about 750 employees in Aachen and Hamburg. We have about 110,000 man days in software development to provide all the IT solutions to our business partner and the German insurance companies that are belonging to the Generali group. We have a lot of virtual machines, over 500 on 16 power set systems. So there's a lot of deployments to provide. We have a lot of standalone Linux servers, virtual Windows servers, and up to now we have also 13,000 Office PCs, including IP telephony. So I think we have a big infrastructure, and we are a big company. And big companies have also to change and to get faster, and that's what I want to talk about. So our initial situation till March 2016 was that we had 4 big software releases each year. And on these 4 big software releases, we were deploying everything. We were deploying on Linux, on Unix, on ZOS applications, mostly COBOL applications. We have WebSphere application servers with web services. We have WebSphere portal server, IBM business process server. And it always took a whole weekend, about 48 hours, to install, test, and give a new release to our customers. And about 25% of this time were installations and database changes, and the other 75% were tests. Today, we are mostly talking about the software installations. There we made a big change. And our target, and we achieved it in March a few weeks ago, was to reduce release and maintenance downtimes to 5 hours. So we had a lot of changes in organization, methods, and technologies that were taking place. It is a large project that is currently still running. And yes, on the upper left corner, we have the points deployment automation and descriptive deployment configuration. That's yeah, my part, as I can say, where I was working on for the 2 last years, and I'm still working on it. But we are changing the whole yeah, informatic company. We also are working on automated smoke tests. We are establishing new database processes where we have pre-migrations because also database migrations are long-running processes. We are automating our release process. Therefore, we are also introducing XL Release, another product of XebiaLabs. We have to provide new trainings to our software developers and operating teams. We have to communicate a lot. We have also to talk to our customers because they were mostly testing on our weekends, and now they have to, yeah, wait till the 5 hours are over and get the new system. So they have to test their release in advance. And yeah, they have to believe that we provide them everything that they have tested in the pre-production. So I think we could fill a whole stream with the changes we made at Generali. And today we are focusing on the descriptive deployment aspect to give you an impression what we have done there. Yeah, our target infrastructure for XL Deploy were at the beginning Unix systems with IBM web application servers and IBM portal servers. So we just focus on one aspect on our infrastructure, but the major business is running on that systems. So we have our online distribution platform, we have all the web services that our partners are calling and using. So that's the things that make our business, and later on yeah, makes a connection to the ZOS mainframe backend, where also a lot of data is stored. But I think it's important to mention that we have our ZOS deployments and web deployments separated. So the ZOS guys are also having big changes at the moment to provide faster deployment solutions. Yeah, point of departure. When we installed web services or portal applications, we used a custom developed tool called Cardina. It's about, yeah, I think 10 years old, and we always made yeah, only small software changes with the tool. So we always documented how we came from one running system to another running system by changing, for example, 5 web services and a few configurations like JVM parameters or something. But what we didn't have was full descriptive solutions on our system, how our system looks like. So we would have been, yeah, a bit more work to reproduce our systems because we have to analyze changelog that were done over the years. And we wanted to switch. We didn't want it to describe the single software change that is made to the WebSphere platform, but we wanted to have a full description so that we can set up our infrastructures from scratch. Yeah. Yeah, and our infrastructures were used for years and updated with several minor and major patches. So also there was no standardized software stack that we could have built on. So it was always just an evolution of systems over the years, over the different major software releases. Yeah. So at the beginning, there was a decision to change our deployment paradigms to descriptive deployments. We wanted to be able to get a software stack, for example, consisting on a complete portal server installation or 20 web services that are running in one IBM web application server container. And first of all, we made a tool evaluation where we wanted to say, look, what is the market providing for us? Because we believed that there are solutions that we can use and adapt, and that we don't need to build up everything again like we did before with our own custom solution. So we had a look at 4 options. there was Novatech with the product Automate IT. We had a look at IBM Urban Code Deploy, of course, XebiaLabs XL Deploy, and we also thought about a custom implementation again. And we started a proof of concept for each tool. So we set up a few Linux servers that were empty, where we could install our new deployment candidates. And we had an empty server with an IBM Web Application Server installed. And we wanted to prove that we are able to install one of our reference web services. So all the POCs we have done had the same setup. And we defined as key indicators the number of consultants that were taking part at the proof of concepts from the tool side. So the guys from IBM or Novatech or XebiaLabs. We also measured the time till we had a first successful installation. And also the duration of the installation was a key indicator that we had a look on. And of course, if you buy a product, you also have to have a look at the license cost. But there were slightly differences, but from the cost side, the tools were nearly on an equivalent level. IBM is mostly a bit more expensive than the others. I think some of you know that. So what was the result of our tool evaluation? First of all, we decided not to invest again in a custom solution. We wanted to use something out of the box, but that also has the APIs to be extended. And we had our 3 POCs. The time was set to 1 week, so Monday to Friday. So we also made invest in personnel and time for the POCs because we expect these decisions to be lasting for at least a few years. So at Automate, we had 3 consultants, and it took us 4 days to get a successful installation of our reference web service. And the duration of this installation was about 25 minutes. We said, okay, we're quite okay with that. Then next one was IBM Urban Code. They came with 5 consultants. And unfortunately, till Friday, end of business, we didn't have a successful installation with that product. So they were out. So we don't know what the installation would last. And that was not a successful POC for us. And the last one was XebiaLabs with the product XL Deploy. They came with 2 consultants. And after 1.5 days, we were finished and also could have a look at some other software components. And the installation was very fast. And that are also times that we have today. The installation took 3 minutes. And our productive deployments in March for about 10 to 15 web services didn't last longer than 15 minutes. So that's a really fast installation tool, but also always depending on the other side, on the web application server that is getting the installation. So we made our decision and decided for XebiaLabs XL Deploy. And then there came the big discussion. We had a new tool. We wanted to change the installation paradigm. And we really discussed weeks about the question, what is the correct deployment unit for descriptive deployments? In the past, we had the single web service or the single portlet that was installed in the WebSphere container. And we didn't want to do this again. So we were discussing, are we doing groups of portlets that we wanted to install? Or do we want to install the whole thing, so everything that is running on one physical infrastructure? And everybody had his own opinion. And we also have an architecture gremium that was discussing for about, I think, 4 weeks about this question, because that was one of our key questions we had to get an answer for. And our answer was, sounds that simple, everything that runs on one physical or virtual infrastructure is our deployment unit. So if you have a Unix system and you are running a WebSphere portal server on it, the deployment unit is the number of all portlets and pages and wires between the pages so that you are able to set up the server from scratch again. And in March, we also installed our first WebSphere application server systems. And there we set up, okay, on each server we have a bundle of web services from 5 to 15. And the deployment unit is the number of all web services that have to be installed on these specific machines. So we are also there using the techniques that XebiaLabs XL Deploy provides to us. We are able to deploy our machines from scratch. So if there's an empty machine, all 15 web services are deployed on it. And if we are making patches or bug fixes to production, the tool is able to have a full descriptive description of the server, but to manage what has changed. So you always change the description. You say, okay, I have a new version of my deployment artifact. In this new version of my deployment artifact has one web service changed, and the tool decides if there's only to do an update of this one web service, or if the server is empty, makes an installation of all 20 web services. So we are trusting in the technologies we are using. Yeah, here's our operational model. We have 6 XL Deploy instances running at the moment. On the bottom, you find the development instances where we are where we have the development snapshot builds and also the integration release builds. And after that, we are going into our production pipelining where we have the user acceptance tests, the pre-productions where our customer can say okay to the new release, and of course, our production. And we also have made vertical separation for different technologies. So we started with the 2 portal instances in the middle, and set some new instances for web services beside. So we are also able to maintain our XL Deploy instances for different groups of deployments. And we also have 2 instances for other deployments where we are currently having, for example, some Comedia system Tomcat deployments. So there we mix it up a little bit. Yeah, we have no high available configuration of our XL Deploy instances. For sure, our repository is highly available, so we are always having access to our data. It's lying on a HA network share. And we decided to make the installation of XL Deploy itself with Puppet. So we're able to set up an XL Deploy server within a few minutes by running our Puppet scripts and connecting the network share, and we are running again. So if our XL Deploy servers break down, we are also able to recapture them within a few minutes, which is very important for us. And therefore, it's also important to talk about the usage of XL Deploy, because we use the tool for deployment, but we don't use the UI of XL Deploy, because we are always documenting everything as a POM XML, as you know from Maven. So we have applications and configurations, of course. We have the dictionaries with the specific parameters for each maturity level. And also the infrastructure environments, the roles and the permissions are documented as POM XML. So if you set up a new XL Deploy instance, you just can make a Jenkins build and import all your data to it. And you have everything in XML structure and have it in your Git repositories. Yeah. How do we have integrated XL Deploy in our tools? our other software development tools, yes, Jenkins server is managing all the snapshot and release builds and is, after success, also deploying to the development stages. And then we have a special job type. It's called a transfer job that makes the transport from the lower maturity level XL Deploy instance to the production pipeline instances. That also directly triggers the deployment to user acceptance tests. So our software developers and integrators or operating guys are mostly working with the Jenkins server. They know for years from our old solutions. And are not getting in touch with a new tool. Because we wanted to have everything buildable to reproduce it. Okay, so what are our benefits? We have no more forgotten artifacts. If we have 4 big software releases a year and you change 80 to 100 applications to your WebSphere platform, it happened that 1 was missing or 2 were missing, or also 1 was installed too much, which was only for the next release. And now we have 1 configuration that needs to be transported and deployed. The deployments are also more stable today than with our old deployment solution, which also evolved over years. And we restrictively have no more manual actions on our WebSphere containers or also on our operating system settings. So this is only for the really, really bad cases where we accept manual interactions. On the other side, everything is automated by tools. And what we also wanted to do was deployment can be done on a new infrastructure. So our new release process looks like we have running production and we have a new production. And the installation of the new release, of course, runs on the new production. And during our 5-hour release window, we just make a switch of the network connection, which lasts about less than a few minutes, so we can take our production into production for our customers. By that, we can also easily roll back. So if we are experiencing that for what reason, whatever, everything is not running, we also can make a faster rollback than uninstalling the pre-release with our tools. And we are also able to reproduce our infrastructures from scratch. And that was also one of our problems and threats we had to experience when we are on our way. We had no standardized software stack for our operating system image. The configurations made to the systems were not standardized, they were not scripted, they were hardly reproducible. We didn't have an image of our WebSphere container, so also there were slightly differences if one colleague or another made the installation of the application server. And so we had to build up a complete new infrastructure stack, so that we nowadays have a Camunda process where I can say, okay, I want a new WebSphere application server, then I get my Unix system image, I get my WebSphere application server image. The basic configurations are done by scripts. And after that, the machine is handled to XL Deploy, where we can provide the software stack by installing the web services on our new container. Also, the reproduction of infrastructure environment was a hard thing. If you have a data center and you put a new server on it, there's a lot of network cabling you have to do. You have to open firewalls, you have to enable security. And that took us a lot of testing and also a bit of software archaeology to find out what our systems really need and what they don't need to get this new software stack. And also the deployment of a new portal server is a huge thing. Our online distribution portal consists of about 70 applications, and that needs to be one bundle that has to be deployed. So also there, the software developers had to do a lot of work to get things running. Yeah. And we also had a huge change in deployment process and technology, and that, of course, had impact on the organization. So responsibilities were slightly changing. The people had to adapt their work to the new tools. And I think that's also not so surprising. There was skepsis. From the beginning, we had no trust or confidence in the new deployment solutions. And also there we had to break the ice, made a lot of communication and change, and goes away with the people. We were very close to the projects that were moving to XL Deploy. Yeah, nowadays, the new solutions are established and working, and nobody's talking about, oh, we have no confidence in the new tools. It's just running. And here we have a short timeline. As I said, we are a big company. Big company are sometimes a bit slower. And it took us about 2 years from the first POCs till we have now XL Deploy established and running. We started with the tool evaluation in the beginning of 2014. And in the second and third quarter of 2014, we set up and designed the new deployment process. We made all the architecture decisions. For example, as I said, what is our deployment unit, which took us weeks. And then we started with the migration of our sales portal for our online distribution platform. And yes, this really took us over half a year because there were a lot of configurations. They were the first movers. But in the end, after we were in production, we had no problems. So it lasted a long time, over half a year, but we also knew that we had the online distribution platform, and we had a high focus on quality for the products we were migrating at that moment. Yeah, and then we secondly migrated our in-house service portal, which went productive last autumn. And yet in March we had the first migrations of our web services, which are still ongoing. Yeah, and as I said, in March we had the first 5-hour downtime. And for the second half of the year, we also promise this to our customers. So at the moment, if we would need 6 hours in case of 5 hours, it would be okay. It wouldn't be nice. But from the second half of 2016, we promise our customers you only have 1 5-hour downtime each month for maintenance or software releases. And another thing we also want to do is we want a full replacement of our old deployment solution and are moving other technologies to XL Deploy. So let me give a short foresight for the last minute. We are focusing on digitalization. We want further reduction of downtimes. We have to get even faster, even better. And one thing we also want to be able to is to release new features within a month with lower risk. So our company is also establishing more agile teams and also planning to put the operation guys in this agile team. So we are slightly moving to agile and DevOps in the organization. That are the things for the next months and years. And we also want more scalability through dynamic infrastructure. So the guys from our infrastructure services are also working on providing infrastructures even faster and more on demand and everything you need. Yeah, for XL Deploy, we plan to use also different technologies, for example, Termcat or Comedia, or we also have the WebSphere process server. That can be provided by XebiaLabs XL Deploy. And at the moment, we are also working on release process automation. So we want to completely automate our 5-hour release window. And therefore, we also bought a different product from XebiaLabs called XL Release. We want to combine XL Release and XL Deploy and also use all the scripts that the colleagues from the firewalls or infrastructures and get all the work that is done within the 5-hour window into the product XL Release. So we have there a workflow, an automated workflow for our window, because you just get faster by automating more and more. So thanks for your attention, and you're welcome to ask questions during the breaks. You find me by the guys of XebiaLabs, and yeah, I wish you a nice day and have fun and enjoy the conference.